Hi guys, I hope you are all doing well. Let's see today's question. So today's question we are taking this up from the topic of quadratics and inequalities. And if I talk about the question that is given to us here from this topic, the question tells us let alpha comma beta, where they have told me one more condition with this, that alpha is already greater than beta, and alpha and beta are the roots of a quadratic equation which is given to us as x square minus root 2x minus root 3 is equals to 0. Question says let Pn is equals to alpha raised to n minus beta raised to n, where n belongs to capital N, which is natural numbers. The question is asking me to figure out the value of an expression which is given to us as 11 root 3 minus 10 root 2 times P10 plus 11 root 2 plus 10 P11 minus 11 times P12. So we need to figure out the value of this entire expression. And if I talk about the answer choices that we have been given here, the options are 10 root 3 P9. The second answer choice 11 root 3 P9. Third answer choice I have 11 root 2 P9. And the fourth answer choice I have is 10 root 2 P9. So we need to figure out which one of the answer choices is the correct answer for this entire expression's value that is asked to us here. Let's try to solve this question here that is given to us. So I have been given alpha and beta are the roots of this quadratic equation, x square minus root 2x minus root 3 equals 0. We have been told alpha is greater than beta also, and alpha and beta are the roots of this quadratic equation. And we have been told one more thing, that Pn is alpha n minus beta raised to n. So using Newton's theorem, I can just write this as P n plus 2 minus root 2 times P n plus 1 minus root 3 times Pn is equals to 0. So this condition I'm getting using Newton's theorem. Those who understand Newton's theorem can skip the explanation that I'm going to provide now. Otherwise, those who don't understand, first let's understand how do I get this entire expression. So what I do here is, I know alpha and beta are the roots of this quadratic equation. So I can write this as alpha and beta being the roots of the quadratic equation are going to satisfy this quadratic, right? So alpha square minus root 2 times alpha minus root 3 is equals to 0, correct? Now, similarly, beta is also a root of this quadratic equation. So beta will also satisfy this equation. So I get beta square minus root 2 times beta minus root 3 equals 0. Now I have both the expressions. Now let's say if I multiply this entire quadratic with alpha also, one more time I get this is alpha cube minus root 2 times alpha square minus root 3 times alpha is equals to 0. Or if I multiply this with alpha one more time, I can write this as alpha raised to 4 minus root 2 alpha cube minus root 3 alpha square is equals to 0. So generalizing this idea, I can write this as alpha raised to n plus 2 minus root 2 times alpha raised to n plus 1 minus root 3 times alpha raised to n is equals to 0. So what I understand is that with root 3 I have whatever alpha to the power of n. With root 2 I have 1 power increased, so alpha raised to n plus 1, and the first term has one more power increased, so 3 becomes 4, so n plus 1 becomes n plus 2, right? Similarly, same thing I have it for beta, because beta is also the root of the same quadratic. So beta also same ways would generalize this as beta raised to n plus 2 minus root 2 times beta raised to n plus 1 minus root 3 times beta raised to n is equals to 0. So I have these two expressions with me now. Now if I subtract both the expressions, let's understand. So if I subtract both the expressions, what do I get here as alpha raised to n plus 2 minus beta raised to n plus 2. Then minus root 2 is common for both the second term, so minus root 2 common. I get alpha raised to n plus 1 minus beta raised to n plus 1 minus root 3 alpha raised to n minus beta raised to n is equals to 0. So I have this. Now once I have this with me, because I've subtracted all of them, I can write alpha raised to n plus 2 minus beta raised to n plus 2. So they have given me Pn denotes alpha raised to n minus beta raised to n. So similar ways, if I have n plus 2 here, it will also become Pn plus 2. So I get Pn plus 2 minus root 2. This directly becomes Pn plus 1 because instead of n plus 2, I have n plus 1, and alpha raised to n minus beta raised to n is directly given to me in the question also, P. So I get this form of the equation. This idea, we get it using Newton's theorem as well. So if you know Newton's theorem, well and good. But if you don't know, you can just figure out this also every time. So once I get this, let's figure out how to solve the question further. So question is talking about terms of P being 10, 11, and 12. So let's put P as 10 first, or N as 10 first here. So if I put N as 10. So basically, if I see the entire expression has P 10, 11, and 12. These are three different unknowns. So I need to basically convert any two of them into one single thing. So I have, instead of three unknowns, only one unknown. So I can solve it further and get it converted in the unknown, which is P9 here, because we want our answer choices in terms of P9. So I'm putting N as 10 first of all. So if I'm putting N as 10, let's see what I get. So I get here P12 already. I here get root 2 times P11 minus root 3 times P10. So from here, I get a relation that P12, I can write that as root 2 times P11 plus root 3 times P10. So I have P12 in terms of P11 and P10. But still, instead of three unknowns, I have converted P12 in terms of P11 and P10, but that would be still two unknowns, right? But I want to convert it into one single unknown, and we want our answer in terms of P9. So I don't have a relation for P9 as of yet. So what I understand is, instead of 10 now, let's put 9 as n. So if I put n as 9, what do I get? P11 minus root 2 P10 minus root 3 P9. So I have again a relation which says P11 is root 2 times P10 plus root 3 times P9. Now I have P11 in terms of P10 and P9. I have P12 also in terms of P11 and P10. Let's try to put it everything in the other expression that was given to us. So the expression that was given to us, it said that you have to figure out the value of 11 root 3 minus 10 root 2 P10 plus 11 root 2 plus 10 P11 minus 11 P12. So let's put it 11 root 3 minus 10 root 2. P10, I don't have anything, so I'll just write it as P10 only. 11 root 2 plus 10. P11, that was given to me as root 2 times P10 plus root 3 times P9. So root 2 times P10 plus root 3 times P9 minus 11 P12, which was there. I got that as root 2 times P11 plus root 3 times P10. Now, let's try to figure out. So I have 11 root 3 P10 minus 10 root 2 P10 plus, if I have the two bracket multiplication, I know how to multiply it. So this gets multiplied with this. 11 root 2 times root 2, which is 11 into 2, which is 22 P10. This also gets multiplied with this. So I get 11 root 2 times root 3, which is 11 root 6 P9. This also gets multiplied. So 10 root 2 P10 and 10 times root 3, so 10 root 3 P9 minus. This becomes 11 root 2 P11 minus 11 root 3 P10. Now, everything, if you see, we have converted in everything in terms of 10 and 9. Only obstruction or only damage I'm getting here is in terms of P11. So I don't want this P11 also. So I'll again put my P11, which I know in terms of P10 and P9 here also in the next step. So I get this P11 also eliminated. So everything would be left in terms of only P10 or P9, right? And if I can cancel anything, let's do that in this step only. So we don't need to take that ahead. 11 root 3 minus 11 root 3 I can directly cancel. With P10 I have minus 10 root 2 plus 22 plus 10 root 2 also. So let's cancel that also directly. Nothing else can be cancelled. Yeah, nothing else. So I have 22 P10 with me, 11 root 6 P9 with me, and 10 root 3 P9 with me. Apart from that, 11 root 2 as it is. P11. P11 we already had it as root 2 times P10 plus root 3 times P9. So root 2 times P10 plus root 3 times P9. So from there, let's see what I get. 22 P10, 11 root 6 P9, 10 root 3 P9 minus 11 root 2 times root 2. So 11 times 2, which is 22 P10. This and this also cancels. Minus 11 root 6 P9. So this also cancels. So everything actually got cancelled. I'm just left with one term, and that's 10 root 3 P9. It should match the answer choices that are given. P9 I have everywhere, and 10 root 3 I have gotten. That is basically answer choice A. So A becomes the correct answer for this question that is given to us here. I hope you have understood how to solve this type of questions. So what we did was we just applied Newton's theorem. And if you don't understand what is Newton's theorem, I have explained that how to get it. Once I got the Newton's theorem, I just put N as 10 and N as 9. So I got the conversions of P12 and P11 in terms of P10s and P9s. And then everything get cancelled, only one term is left, and that one term leads me to answer choice A being the correct answer. I hope you have understood this. I'll see you again tomorrow with some other question from some other topic, and we are going to continue our series of questions on JEE mains. So stay tuned for some videos to roll out. Also, if you're enjoying these videos that we are doing on everyday basis, please do like the videos as well, and do subscribe to my channel, and share this channel with your friends also who are involved in the preparation of questions on JEE, so they can also take the benefit from these questions that we are solving. Thank you.